sometimes some physical exercises like you can say weight training, and sometimes
you are Mr. Sanjay K. Sharma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I had been a part of all these.
It's good. It's very good. I highly appreciate your you are associated with these things. And anyone having some experience in this line? So the thing is, importance of exercise in stress management. First thing is, what is health? Actually, we should know what is health. Let me describe you what is fitness. Actually, there are 5 components of fitness. There are 5 basic components of fitness. There are levels of fitness, basically the basic level, intermediate level, and advanced level. But we'll speak of basic level of fitness. So there are 5 basic fitness components. Those are first thing is your muscular endurance. Means for how long time you can keep your muscular strength. That is your muscular endurance. Your muscular strength at a time. How many? What is your capacity to lift a thing? That is your muscular strength. And then your BCA, body composition analysis, or body composition means in your body what is the percentage of fat is there, what is the muscle percentage in your body. So there are some fixed set of parameters that a healthy person should have. So do you have those parameters? According to that set parameters, that is called body composition. And then your cardiovascular endurance means your heart and lungs, whether your heart and lungs works together or not, or how fine it is working. That is the cardiovascular endurance. And last is flexibility. So these 5 points are the basic components of fitness. And if anyone is practicing some sort of physical activity, they should try to acquire these 5 components. This is the first primary goal of any fitness training. So now coming to the point, coming to the importance of exercises. See, the exercise does lot of benefits to your entire physiology. You can name hundreds, but let us discuss some of the points. Like, it improves your muscle mass, it strengthens your muscle, it gives your muscle the capillaries in your muscle opens up during exercise, so the nutrients getting to the cells, muscle cells, and the extraction of waste material, it becomes very fine. And then second point, it strengthens your bone. As you do or any sort of exercise, the calcium and magnesium absorption will be there, so your bone becomes strong. Third thing is it trains your nervous system, because during workout you have to control your muscle through your nervous system, and your nervous system becomes very upgraded. It will be upgraded. And then again, during exercise, I will tell you later on also, during exercise, the hormones, the basic hormones which are required to function in your body quite okay, those hormones will be secreted properly. And your cardiovascular system will improve, your neurons will be activated. There are whole lots of benefits, but these are the some benefits which are really exercise does to us. And from the point of stress management, you can see that while doing any exercise, the hormone, feel good hormone, it is released. Any sort of maybe it may be for 5 minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It will be flooded. Your blood will be flooded with this feel good hormone, which will give you very good feelings, very confident feelings after workout. And again, workout enhances your sleep quality. So these are the benefits which will further benefit you in stress management. So we'll be discussing during this. I'll present my screen. I have prepared a PPT presentation. So let me prepare. Go to the presentation. Give me just a minute. I'll be just opening the PPT. So everyone can see this thing. See, during these 4 classes, I am having 4 classes. Today is the introductory class, and tomorrow we'll be having a practical training on yoga and pranayama. Then the next day we'll be having next class. We'll be having uh, practical training on meditation, and then after that we'll be having strength-based training, practical. So now everyone can see the PPT presentation. Someone respond, please. It is coming. It is coming.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So there are numerous stress management techniques basically adopted by a lot of United and adopted by people. So we'll be only concentrating on these 3 things. One is yoga and pranayama. One is meditation. One is strength training. So what physical exercise does in stress management, that is mental health and physical health are connected through a thin thread. It is the both the side of a coin actually. A physical unhealthy person is sure to be suffering from mental sickness. It is true. And on the other hand, a mentally unhealthy person cannot be physically fit. So exercise can reduce stress, fatigue, impotence, improve alertness, and overall well-being. It is written over there. And exercise and other activities produce endorphins. Endorphin is the feel-good hormone. It's a hormone which during exercise it is produced in our body, improves sleep quality, and in turn reduce stress. If we have a very quality sleep overnight, then our stress gets reduced. Simple things like acupuncture, massage therapy, breathing deeply can cause body to produce endorphins. So there is no need of doing so very complex exercises. Actually, very simple exercises can benefit us from in stress management. So the regular aerobic exercise means walking, running, or cycling. This type of exercise, it has got a lot of influence over our stress level. It can decrease our stress level. It can elevate our mood. It can improve sleep and self-esteem, means self-confidence. Self-confidence is the prime key to stress management. If you have the confidence that I can handle any situation, then you have that feelings from inside. You'll be confident enough. Okay. Now let us see the basic subjects we are going to do practical: yoga, pranayama, meditation, and your weight training, means resistance training. So what does it do? How yoga help in stress management? Yoga is a very vast concept actually. Yoga is a philosophy. We cannot teach actually yoga. We can teach you asana, pranayam, and meditation and exercises. These are the physical part we can teach you. But the basic yoga concept, there are 4 parts of yoga. There are different schools of yoga. So the practice you have to do. So yoga is the mind and body practice. It combines your physical thing and your mental thing, and it gives deep relaxation. It brings you to a relaxed situation where you can enjoy that relaxation. So yoga is basically, it combines physical exercises, breath control, and your mind focus. These 3 things gives you a great relaxation, which will calm down your stress level. So next is yoga lowers your heart rate. Yoga lowers your metabolic rate. Yoga give you a capacity to function in a very low oxygen consumption. So these are the benefits which our body receives from regular yoga practice. And again, it enhances your balancing capacity. You can balance more. Your body becomes more balanced, and your flexibility increases. Range of motion increases. Strength and your muscle strength, it increases. So overall, yoga helps this way that your body can cope with any stress level, physical or mental. Then what does pranayama do? Let us see. Pranayama is a conscious breath control technique. It's prana. Prana means your breath, your breath, the very vital force of your body. That is breath. So prana, it's a technique by which we control the prana. Prana means your prana and aprana means your breathing, inhale and exhale. If done properly, pranayama can support parasympathetic nervous system. There are different divisions of our nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system will be triggered if we do pranayama in regular basis, and which will further produce the relaxation response. The parasympathetic nervous system will produce the relaxation response. So this way, pranayama helps us in stress management, and in the other sense, in physical level, the oxygenation in our cells, it will improve with the pranayama, and the overall our lung usage capacity will grow. So this will help us physically and mentally both. Then again, meditation and stress management. So meditation is a process. It's a very vast process, and there are a lot of different ideas are there. But here what we do, we focus our whole attention to a particular thing, and we slowly try to eliminate other confusing thoughts. So this process actually gives us it enhances our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So meditation is very beneficial for developing focus. Nowadays, we are very much say confused with lot of ideas and lot of things happening around us. So we cannot actually basically focus properly. So we have to focus to develop our focusing power. We can do meditation. Meditation is the opposite way of it works opposite to stress. What stress does? Stress increases our heart rate, blood circulation. It increases our metabolic rate, increases in stress condition. So yoga does the opposite thing. It tames down our mind. It tames down. It slows down our breathing. It slows down our heart rate. So yoga, meditation, and pranayama, if we practice these three things in regular basis, then we can handle a lot more stress, and our physical and mental and emotional well-being will be there. So it triggers the body's relaxation response. Means it triggers the response by which one's body feels relaxation, relaxed. It restores body's clean state and helps body to repair itself for physical effect of stress. Due to the stress, what are the negative effects we are having in our body? That will be triggered. That will be neutralized by meditation. So again, we'll be at the last practical class, maybe fourth class. We'll be concentrating on some practical training on strengthening our body. So that is strength training can change our metabolic. It kicks up our metabolic rate. It prevents diseases. It makes stronger. It makes us strong physically and also mentally. Our willpower develops. So regular strength training helps release feel good hormones that I have already told you, that endorphins will be there, and which will help us to manage stress in a better way. It gives us instant result. The difference between yoga practices, asana practices, and strength training is yoga is a slow process. So the effect of yoga, it takes time, maybe 2, 3 months, 4 months. After regular practice, you will get the results. But in strength training, you will get the results instantaneously. The mood boost, the decrease of your anxiety after a good workout in gym or in your household, you'll feel very comfortable, and your all stress level will come down. So this is the benefit of strength training, where you get instant results. Then maybe in practical yoga and pranayama, will be combining practical yoga and pranayama together in one class. Tomorrow we'll be having that class. So in this class, it's a very yoga itself is a very big it's a vast means subject. So maybe we will not go to the traditional yoga practice where we chant lot of mantras and all. We will not go to that thing. We'll be deriving as we'll be constructing a schedule. We will be constructing an easy to follow schedule where within a stipulated period of time, maybe half hour or 45 minutes, we can finish the entire yoga practice and pranayama practice, so that in our busy life we can adjust this schedule. So I'll show you in tomorrow's class. But I request all of you, if you are willing to join the practical class on yoga, pranayama, and meditation, first thing you need is a good place to work on where no disturbances are there. Nobody can disturb you. Second thing, you need to wear a shorts, half pants or track lower, and a t-shirt. You need one bottle of water. You need, and something to keep it in the ground so that over that you can do the practices. So maybe it may be yoga mat or any cloth, any usable cloth you can have. You should have a place like that. You should select by today. You arrange these things. First thing is a place where nobody can disturb you, because the yoga I cannot teach you in one day, but I can just give you the rough idea so that you can follow it in your day-to-day life. Regularly, you can at least I can give you ready-made some selected exercises which you can practice in your day-to-day life, and you can get the benefits. Again, first we need a place where you are not disturbed by anybody. Second, you need a yoga mat or anything to keep it on the floor, so that over that you can do the exercises. One bottle of water, maybe one handkerchief to these four things you need. So these four things please make ready by tomorrow's class, so that we can have some practical interactive class where I can see you doing the exercises by you and I can correct it. For that, I have prepared some GIF and picture and all, because live class is somewhat not easy to do, because there should be a lot of gadgets and equipments required. One good camera will be required for live class. So I'm not doing it live, but I'll be guiding you live. I'll be guiding you live. You will be doing the posters, and I'll check and I'll rectify you over this platform. So that will be done in class 2, 3, and 4. So till now everything is clear. Everybody is clear, or any doubts or any queries you have? Anybody can speak. Means you just speak up, because I cannot understand you are getting my points or not. Hello? Yeah. Can I listen from someone? Someone please speak up. That so far what I have told or what I have discussed, it's all audible to you, and you understood. Anyone just speak up?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Any doubts, any queries regarding this?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, speak up.
Sir, I have a question. What is the difference between the meditation, pranayam, and yoga? Actually, I can't understand what is the difference between them.
Actually, the term yoga, we are indicating the asanas basically. Nowadays it is used. We cannot. I told you we cannot teach you yoga. Yoga is not only physical postures, physical exercise. Yoga is a vast concept. It has got different parts. There are two schools basically. One is Hatha Yoga, one is Patanjali Yoga. So in Patanjali Yoga, there are lot of different ideas. Means you have heard of this, na? Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Hello. Yep. Yeah. Yep. So there are different ways. The ultimate goal of yoga is moksha prapti. Moksha prapti, that is the ultimate goal of yoga. There are 4 ways to go to the moksha prapti. These are Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga. So these are the ways by which you can go to the ultimate goal. In Raja Yoga, there are 8 steps. Niyam, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So there are steps. In the among these 8 steps, there are only 2 steps: yoga and pranayama. Yoga means we are meaning the asanas. It's a physical exercise only. And the difference between yoga and pranayama is the breath control. You don't do any physical exercise. You sit down playing on a place and you just control your breathing. It's only breathing exercise. And yoga is physical exercise, physical postures you do. Nowadays, there are a lot of concepts coming in the market that like power yoga, sports yoga. They are deriving the yoga postures and they are doing it back to back for burning calories and maybe toning up the body. But we'll be, as we are discussing in the context of stress management, so we are not going to power yoga. We are not going to other forms of yoga. We will be following steady state yoga, which is Patanjali yoga, and where the relaxation will be there. We do a exercise and we relax. We do a exercise and we relax. That is the yoga. And pranayama is totally your breath control, your lung capacity, your oxygen uptake capacity will increase.
Okay.
So you got my point?
Okay.
Is it
Actually,
okay?
in the yoga process, there is also in a breathing control system also included in a yoga.
Yeah. It is there. In yoga also, you control your breath, but in yoga you don't modify your breathing. There are instructions that during bending you should exhale while coming to the original posture. You inhale. That is there. But during the posture, while you're holding on the posture, you breathe normally in yoga. But in meditation or in pranayama, we breathe in different way. There are Anulom Vilams are there. There are Kapalbhatis are there. There are a lot of different techniques where forcefully we do the breathing. We do only breathing exercise. We just exercise our breathing techniques. So that is there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we control thoughts also utilizing the pranayama technique?
Where?
Do we also control our thought process whenever we are using this
In
pranayama?
pranayama, yes. In pranayama, our basic. Okay. Let me answer your question, Mr. Sharma. In pranayama, our total focus is on controlling our breath only. No doubt, we will have to focus on our breath. Then only we can in meditation. But in meditation, our total focus is on focusing on the thought process into a single point. In meditation, we focus all our thoughts to a single point. But in pranayama, we don't focus on a single point. We focus on our breath. Exhale, inhale. We feel the relaxation and we feel the hot air coming in, the cold air coming in, and the hot air going out. This we focus on that only. So there is a slight difference between meditation and pranayama breathing techniques. In pranayama, it's an exercise of your breath, but in meditation, it's not your exercise of your breath. It is exercise of your mental in focusing. How good you can focus your thoughts and eliminate the other thoughts. So there are 2 distinguished differences. So, Mr. Sharma, is this clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay.
But,
Excuse me, sir. I'm Narendran.
Normally, it is said that breathing is the load of strength.
Pardon?
Breathing is the load of strength, basically. How do you breathe? How do you take this pranayam? And how do you strengthen your minds and body? So all the thought process which comes within you, because of your air, pranayam, air, you are taking in.
Your own thought should be focused on your air.
If you are taking it too fast, then the thinking process will be very slowly. And when you are taking it slowly, then thinking process will be more and more powerful and more focused.
Okay.
And I think when you are going to meditation, your breathing becomes so small that your thought process gets concentrated more and more powerful.
Your breathing should not disturb your concentration. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sarma.
Welcome.
Okay.
Hello,
Thank you for your. Yeah.
Sir, can you explain the correct procedure for pranayama practice, sir?
Yeah, we'll be doing practical on tomorrow's class. We'll be doing practical on that. I'll tell you simple steps to follow while doing pranayama.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Tomorrow, you get ready with these 4 things now. One place where nobody can disturb. You can perform the pranayama. I'll check it one by one. I'll correct any problems over there.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
So maybe any other confusions? Anyone?
Sir, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to know for the beginners, what is it that you would recommend? For example, if I'm not doing any physical exercise and want to cope up with day-to-day stress, so I should begin with meditation or yoga or pranayam. What should one do, sir, to begin the exercise?
Yeah. See, it depends. Actually, what you can accommodate. Actually, you can do strength training also in your home. For 15 to 20 minutes, you can do strength training. If you have got very less time, because yoga, at least if you want to do yoga and pranayama, then it takes time, because it is a very slow process. You have to do at least standing means there are a lot of things. There are postures, standing postures, supine postures, pronated postures, sitting postures. So each of one exercise you can, if you wish to do, then you have to do Surya Namaskar. It has got 12 steps. So it takes time. If you have so much of undisturbed time to perform yoga and meditation, it's good. At home you can do it. No equipment is required, and there are very less chance of getting injured. In Patanjali Yoga, you are having very less chance of getting injured, because the Patanjali Yoga main theory is do as far as you can. Means reach where you can reach. Don't stress yourself to don't overdo the stretching exercises, postures. So you can start with maybe if you are having a lot of time, you can start with yoga and pranayama. If you have access to a gym, you can go and get strength training. Which exercise you feel comfortable with, and it is reachable to you, and it's manageable to you. You can follow anything, because in each and every exercise they will start from the basic. While coming in a new person starting yoga class, they will not let you do the advanced level of yoga postures. They'll start with the basic thing only. Again, you go to gym. If you are having nearby gym, if you can access to a gym, then they will not let you do a heavy exercise in the first day. They will start slowly from the basic level. Then you will go after 3-4 months. You will go to intermediate level. Then you go to advanced level. So there will be step-by-step procedure. Nowadays, everything is scientific, and it is step-by-step. It's done step-by-step. So I suggest you you just decide that which will means how many time you can spare. First thing, you have to decide that how much time I can put in my physical exercise. Maybe you don't have any time, then only simply walking for half an hour will give you a lot of benefits. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye. Next, anyone? Any question? Any question you can ask me, because today I am not going to do any practical, because I have not told you earlier that what are the equipments required. You need a mat you need a place where at least we can do practical. So today we will be not doing any practical, just we will be discussing the thing and we will be answering your questions and queries so that for tomorrow you will be ready.
In finance industry, and I
So
want to
please,
know
anyone,
how the legal processes work, how the
Jamini.
company are structuring, or how they're going to strategize to face this change of Brexit. Brexit is a change for every company, right? Britain is exiting out of European Union, so what will happen to the companies which were legally registered in Britain, Great Britain, or UK? What will happen to them? Will they be able to trade directly with other companies? When I say trade, I mean financial trades, equities, derivatives, and things like that, right?
Okay.
So my knowledge more so is in these areas. I am a consultant who helps them to solutionize certain pieces of products. How we're going to service our clients. Our clients are
Okay.
based in UK. They are across the globe. You know, multi-million, billion-dollar industries, hedge funds, and things like that. There's many things. So industry knowledge for you to know when you step in an interview and a manager says, "Okay, what do you know about us?" Right? When they say, "What do you know about us?" they also are asking about what you know about the company, what do you know about the industry. So you can throw in.
So your sound is not coming properly. I cannot hear you. Actually.
So I see myself here because I'm interested in this kind of an industry and things like that. So that's where your industry knowledge steps in. And when you talk about these things, right?
Pardon, sir, I am not getting you. Means your voice is not clear. Hello. Hello. So maybe we are having some technical problems with Talraz Jamini. So anyone else want to know something about this yoga, pranayama, meditation, and strength-based training?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
While you're breathing in meditation, should it be rhythmic? Should we take the help of music also?
No. There are techniques, actually different techniques followed by different people. So I'll be discussing simplest possible breathing meditation where I'll tell you in the practical class how to breathe during that entire course.
This is sometimes somebody says this is lay yoga.
Yeah. There are a lot of concepts. There are a lot of yoga concepts nowadays coming up. Everybody, the same thing. They are doing in different way. Like I have told you that power yoga. Power yoga is there. Sports yoga. They are developing sports yoga. Again, that is in power yoga. They do the Surya Namaskar only, but they remove the 2 steps out of it. The relaxation postures they remove and they do it rigorously. So these are the concepts basically derived from yoga, and they are using it in different fields, modifying some of the basic things over there. So maybe you are I cannot tell you that means this is good or this is bad. Everything is good and everything is good for everyone. So whoever following what system of meditation, again they are focusing their mind to a single point, and they are developing their mental strength and mental stability over there. The ultimate goal is that. But there are a lot of different type of yoga and meditation concepts are there.
You mean to say ultimately all the techniques lead to one point only. Whatever the techniques,
The ultimate goal is the same.
They all lead to control your all senses of knowledge.
To a single point. It develops your focus. You can focus in anything. You can focus with means a single point focus. That's the goal. And all are the ways, different ways actually. Okay, thank you, sir. Sama sir. Okay. So anyone, any question and any doubts? So that is a good conversation we had with the participants, and these are some questions they have asked, and I think I am able to give them their requisite response. Again, let's move on. So this is practical on pranayama and meditation we will do. Now, practical on strength training, as I told you earlier, it gives you immediate results. It gives you immediate results, but there are a lot of precautions to be taken during doing strength training, because you may injure yourself, because there should be some guide, somebody who can check your posters, forms, and the type of workout you are doing. So if you have access to a gym nearby, then it's a good idea to join a gym, because all the requisite equipments and all the requisite facilities will be there. The trainers will be there. They can guide you better. But if you don't have sufficient time, then maybe you can do resistance training or strength training with your own body weight. So that is a concept that is called calisthenics. So that is coming up nowadays. It was earlier there, but now they are following it in a different way. So calisthenics is nothing but it's body weight exercise. You need a small space where you can do your strengthening exercises, your cardio exercises, and your flexibility exercises, and everything in a package. So maybe on the 4th class we'll be doing practical on strength training, where we'll try to design a set schedule so that everybody can easily follow it in their homes, and spare some time for it, and get the benefits out of it. So basically, I'll be doing practically. I have arranged videos of different exercises, and we'll be practicing over there. I'll show you the videos also on the 4th class. So this, anyone, again I'm asking you, anyone want to ask any questions, discuss any point? Maybe it's a small question, but you should ask. We should interact. If we don't interact, then the whole thing will become fruitless. Because again, from tomorrow we'll be doing practical. So in practical, we need to interact. So you just ask me the questions. You just clarify yourself and prepare yourself. So, yeah, Mr. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Actually, I wanted to know, sir, many times I try meditation, and a bit, I've got acquainted with meditation. But sometimes when we are under stress and we go for meditation, all the things, they just get messed up, all negative, positive, and all. And sometimes I have marked that stress level increases rather than decreases. So, is there any?
Actually, are you following some definite type of meditation technique? Are you following some maybe it may be Omkar meditation, it may be there are transcend meditation, there may be cyclic meditation. There are a lot of techniques used in meditation. So are you following some technique, or simply you are trying to meditate?
Sir, I actually don't follow any technique. I just want to relax myself. I just want to relax myself, concentrate, and after that, just try to, to relieve my stress. I try to think something positive, which have already happened, and try to.
Yeah. Okay, no, the thing is, that's why we need the techniques, no? Because
and the positive things that I want in my life, that is That is so. Normally, that VKs like Brahma Kumaris, they teach like you concentrate and then you think about this, think about that, and all like spiritual meditation. But I don't follow any technique. Sometimes I do this, and sometimes, as I told you, I try to focus on to release my stress. I try to focus on all those positive things which have happened and all those things I want to imagine about that I want to happen. But many a times are not able to concentrate, so stress level increases because things get clashed up.
Yeah. That will be there. That will be there. So we need practice. Actually, we practice. So we need the step-by-step procedure to follow. First, you have to follow a procedure. By that, you'll gain control over your mind. Then only you can directly meditate. You are doing the final step in the very beginning. First you choose. I'll give you the in practical. I'll give you the simplest possible meditating system where you don't need anything. You don't have to do anything. Means you just sit down comfortably and you can do this meditation technique. So I'll give you a simple technique. Please be present in my meditation class. I'll give you during the in meditation. What we do, we directly don't try to focus on single spot. First, the focus will be open. Then we'll cover some of the focus and we'll try to focus on some solid things. Then again, step by step, we come to the circle of focus. We'll try to reduce gradually, and at the end, we'll be focusing on single point. So, if you want to directly focus on the single point, you cannot, because the negative thoughts will come, this thought will come, that the disturbance will come, and everything will be in a mess. So, you should do it properly. You should do it initially, at least initially. You should try to practice in a system. Then only you can focus. After achieving that power, after achieving your ultimate focus in power, then only you can directly focus on something. Now you will be confused. Now everything will come in between. So that is a practice. That is the practice. You have to practice for at least 3 to 6 months. Then only you can achieve this thing.
So that is 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. Because it is not so easy. In today's world, it's not so easy to focus. We theoretically tell that you could focus, but it's not so easy. Things will come in between. I have tried several times, but it took time. It takes a lot of time. And you see, after completion of 1 month, you'll get some confidence that I'm trying to focus. I'm getting focused. Again, after 2 months, you'll get more focus. After 3 months, you'll get more focus. So, like that way, you'll achieve your target step by step. Don't try to focus once at a time in a single thought. It will not come. Your brain should be trained. Your brain should be trained accordingly.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, any questions, any thoughts, or any one want to ask any question? I want to discuss one-on-one today. So you are at liberty to ask me any question. I don't tell that I know everything, but I can give you answer tomorrow. I have data sources. So please ask. Don't keep anything in your mind. Be open. Hello. Anybody want to ask any question?
Once you said about moksha, what is moksha? What does it mean, and what are the consequences in present existing life, and how do we live them?
See, the moksha prapti is the ultimate goal of yoga. That normal people cannot means they can achieve, but it's a higher sense of consciousness. It's a different level. First, we have to observe yam, niyam, asana, pranayam. We have to purify our body first. Then dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So first you have to go to dharana, then dhyan, then samadhi, then moksha prapti. So it's something very tough to achieve, moksha prapti. The saints generally you achieve that level. We first have to purify our body through yam, niyam. There are a lot of states basically in yoga: yam, niyam, asana, pranayam. So we have to observe this. The half of our life will go in practicing these four only: asana, pranayam, till asana, pranayam. Then dharana, dhyan, then samadhi, then moksha prapti. After samadhi state, it is a moksha prapti state. So are you clear regarding this? So it's very tough to achieve moksha prapti.
Why people thinks about this moksha and what he gets finally?
Finally, that is the state where nothing disturbs you. That's the place where you are irrelevant to this world. You are not feeling hot. You are not feeling cold. You are not angry. You are not happy. Nothing disturbs you. The emotions and all of this world will not disturb you at that stage. But to achieve that, it's very tough goal.
But
so
you become it means you become irrelevant to the world.
Yeah. You are totally ignorant about your, but you have the consciousness. You know everything, but you are doing everything, but you are doing nothing. That is the state where that's called Stritapadga Avastha. Stritapadga, you become Stritapadga. Perfect, ideal Stritapadga.
But most of the time there comes a case of Raja Janaka, who is always known as Jivan Mukta. During his whole life, he did all the activities being Mukta.
Yeah. A lot of people have done that. The saints and all highly intellectual person means in our society, they have done. They have achieved that state. Maybe samadhi state. The saints, some of the saints achieved that place. But for general people, it will take the whole life practice.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
One of our participant has asked one question in chat box. That is, which exercise is more useful to reduce weight?
Reduce weight. See, by yoga also we can reduce weight. By any form of exercise we can reduce weight. To reduce weight, there is an equation. Input is equal to output. You will be same person. Input is greater than output, you will gain weight. Your output is greater than input, you will lose weight. So there comes the diet science. Without dieting, if you do a whole lot of exercise, maybe weight training, maybe walking, maybe kilometers cycling, it won't help without watching your diet, because the what coming in, the expenditure of you have the physical capacity of expending your calorie in a day. So maybe an advanced person can burn 1000 calorie in a day. It varies from 500 to 1000 calorie. So if advanced person can burn 1000 calorie, if you are consuming 100 ml of oil, it owes you 900 calorie. So if you are consuming 100 ml of carbohydrate, it owes you 400 calorie. If you are consuming 100 ml of protein, then it costs you 400 calorie. So if you add this thing, 1800 calorie you have consumed, and in advanced state, 1 hour running in treadmill or you are burning 1000 calorie only. So 800 calorie will be deposited. So you have to watch your diet. Diet is very important part of weight loss. If somebody wants to lose weight, you have to watch his tongue, and it is means without that you cannot lose weight. Means dieting doesn't mean not eating. Dieting means selectivity. You have to do selectivity. At what time, what should I eat? When my maximum physical activity is there, at that time I should support that physical activity with my free time. And what time I am lazy, at night we stay lazy or we sleep, that time we should reduce our calorie. So it should be like a pyramid. Our diet should be like a pyramid. In morning it should be little bit healthy and good breakfast. Then during lunch it should reduce somewhat calories, and at evening you should reduce calorie as far as you can. Then only you can lose weight. Otherwise you will not get fat loss effect of exercise. Exercise will give you physical fitness, developing your physical strength, stamina, these things. But exercise will not give you fat loss. Fat loss will be coming from your diet. So you have to watch your diet. Is it clear, Mr. Goswami? Goswami?
I think it is clear to the, I think it is clear to the participant who is asking the question.
Okay, on behalf of whom you are asking.
Yeah.
If you have any doubt, just come to me. Just maybe you are getting my phone number from Mr. Madam. You can call me anytime. I'll be glad to help you. If somebody wants to
question
use
from
you.
chat box.
Yeah.
I'm getting one more question from chat box.
Okay.
He's asking, for beginners, what will you suggest? Meditation or yoga?
No. Meditation is not the first step to follow. First thing is you prepare your brain to participate in any sort of physical activity. Whilst choosing which I should start, that depends upon lot of factors, like your convenience, your time, how much time in your daytime schedule, how much time you can spare. What is your previous experience? Because if a person having no experience in any sorts of physical activity or game or sports, then if I put him in gym in the first day, maybe he cannot cope with it, because there he may have to start from doing yoga. I'm not telling that you cannot join first day in gym, but for him yoga will be very soft, and he can start with yoga. But meditation and pranayama, it will come later on. First you have to decide I'll join something, then you have to see whether which is accessible to him. Maybe if he is having a gym nearby him, he can start with gymming, strength training. If he is not having nothing, no help, then he can at least start yoga in his home. Because nowadays a lot of channels and lot of in social media and all, everything is there. You can take help of them, and a lot of channels are there. Maybe YouTube videos are there. Lot of yoga posters. You can start by that. And the basic thing is, if you can at least walk for 2 to 3 kilometers in a day, and do some flexibility exercises at your home, that is enough to start with. But again, one thing is coming into my thinking, that you should take guidance while starting. It is more important to take guidance from some experienced person, because otherwise you may hurt yourself. So please, I request everyone, if you are going to start any physical activity, please take someone who is experienced than you, and as a guide in preliminary days, in yoga, in strength training, in meditation, in anything you do, any physical activity or mental activity you do, you take a guide. Otherwise the results will be negative. You will owe negative results. Okay, that's clear, I think, Mr. Goswami.
Yes, sir. One more question. Is there any side effects of discontinuing yoga or pranayama or exercise?
See, side effect, generally every people complains that after leaving yoga, pranayama or physical exercise, I am gaining weight. But that is not due to yoga or pranayama. It is due to your eating. Say simple calculation. If we are eating, say 1000 calories, let's say 1000 calories you are eating in a day. and you are burning 300 calorie in gym, 300 calorie you burn in your day-to-day life work. So that is your daily calorie expenditure. And another 400 calories was surplus. So you add gymming, that become 400 calorie burning gym. So 1000 calorie, you are losing weight. Maybe 1200 calorie you are burning, 1000 calorie you are consuming, you are burning fat. But now when you leave gym, you are eating 1000 calorie. Your 400 calorie, what that calorie you are burning in gym, that reduced, or you are burning in yoga asanas, it came down. So there will be again surplus of 200, 300, 400 calories. So you have to again reduce the diet. Then only you will be same. First thing. Second thing, there are negative effects of strength training. Your muscle soreness and muscle stiffness will be there, which you can again compensate. Which that's why I suggest you do both. You do somewhat strength training, somewhat yoga. If it is best if you can do something in morning and something in evening. Both are opposites, but both works very good in your body. It will give you both the benefits of you lose flexibility and muscle soreness. You get muscle soreness in strength training. Again, in yoga you gain flexibility and you will be more flexible. So both you can do if it is possible. It's very good. And if it is not possible, you can do any one. Maybe you mix some flexibility exercises in strength training in gym. That can be also done. So, any other questions in the inbox, Mr. Goswami?
One more question is that even though yoga and meditation bring a tremendous effect, the young generation realize the importance of meditation and yoga very late. What strategy could be followed to make them to realize?
See, my angle is I generally I'm in strength training from last 30 years, and I am from last 30 years I'm mixing both the things without knowingly. Means I don't let the student realize, but I do mix both the things. I do full body stretching at the end. I let him do some warm up. There is system, my own made system, where I let him do some warm up first. Then I do it. I suggest him to do some stretching, joint mobilization. Then I do strength training. Then I do other type of cardio and all exercises. Then at last I give him full body stretching exercises, which are yoga postures, nothing else. So this combination, that is from my experience, I have built it, and I think it's fine. It's working, and it's those from last 30 years, those who are training, they are getting a lot of benefits from this combination. The combination is best, and that way we can also motivate young generations, because when young generations will like to go to gym, and they'll that is a glamour. They'll get glamour over there, and along with that, we'll introduce the stretchings. So they'll be getting benefits of both the things. Maybe I am not checking the inbox. Mr. Goswami, can you help me with the any other questions in the inbox?
Thank you, sir. There is no more question.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, actually, I have a question. That is if you are doing any pranayama or yoga, and there are sayings that during some posture you have to exhale, and during doing some posture you have to inhale. So if we unknowingly instead of exhaling, if we inhale, or instead of inhaling we exhale, and is there a chances of that that it might cause some demerit to our body, or it might cause some harmful effect in our body?
Primarily, I don't say that it will give you negative results, but you will not owe the results. You will not owe the results as it is desired. You don't get the desired result. You will get result, but in lesser effective way, or less amount, because the breathing has a very huge relation with your stretchings. Means while your muscles are stretched, your body is at stable position, so you can exhale on during that. But inhale. But during contraction, when your muscles are contracting, your body becomes unstable, and during that period, if you inhale, then the total exercise become unstable. So you will not go up to the mark results. So you should practice initially it happens. Initially, maybe it may happen, but gradually, if you practice, it will come.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
And
clear, no?
one more question, sir. So
Okay.
actually,
Yeah,
sir,
please.
I find very difficult to take out time for yoga. So sometime I do it in the morning time, and sometime I miss out in the morning time. So is it like is it possible after taking food, after how much time is it good to do start a yoga again? I mean to say, if I did my lunch at around 12
It
p.m.
is 2 to 3 hours. And
2 to
for
3 hours.
measure meal, after 2 to 3 hours, you should do any physical activity. And minor meal, maybe you are having some snacks, 2 biscuits and a cup of tea. Then half an hour to 45 minutes after, you can do the exercise. But heavy meal, if you do heavy meal, it should be minimum 2 to 3 hours. Because stomach gets empty in 3 hours. So while the thing is in your stomach, you should not do heavy exercises, because your 70% will blood flow to the stomach for digestion, for supporting digestion. So that at that time, if you are doing legs workout or then maybe upper body workout, the blood will not flow to that part, and it may disrupt the digestion process. So after 2 to 3 hours, you can do workout.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Mr. Sharma.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, I was having some problem with the internet fluctuation, so I was not able to clearly catch it.
If you are doing in morning, if you are doing at morning, maybe you can have a tea and 1 slice of bread. After half an hour, you can do, or cornflakes, 1 small bowl of cornflakes you can have with a green tea, one cup of green tea, and after 1 hour, you can start your yoga.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
One more question from Shadbak sir. What amount of calories should be burned to reduce weight?
See, there is no thumb rule. But the thing is, if you want to burn more calorie, your body will not burn that calorie. The burning of calorie depends upon same amount of volume exercises. If we give 2 persons same volume of exercise to do, both will be burning different calories, because the metabolic rate for each person is having his own metabolic rate. How far he can metabolize his energy. So maybe it is very crucial. There is no fixed calculations, but the thing is, you should try, and again, it depends upon your level of a advanced person can burn up to 1,000 calories in an hour, but a new student, he can burn 200 to 300 calories in that period, because he cannot do so much of complex movement by exercises. So it depends basically. There is no thumb rule, but you should gradually increase your calorie burning capacity day by day. Not do it in one day. You take time. Maybe last month your target should be like that. Last month you have burned 300 calories per day. So now for this month you set a goal of 350 calories or 400 calories. Don't do this thing that I'll be burning 1,000 calories from tomorrow. It will not happen. You will injure yourself. Your ligament may worn out. Your joint may degrade. There are a lot of chances of getting nervous injury. So I don't suggest any fixed calorie burning, fixed calorie to burn in exercise. But you should gradually increase. Your capacity.
Sir, hello. Sir, I would like to know.
Yeah.
Hello, the doubt, sir. So, Smita again. I would like to know that if you make mistakes while doing yoga and asanas, then does it affect negatively?
Yeah, if you repeat the wrong thing for a long duration of time, it may affect. But for one day, if while doing you are doing something wrong and you recognize it, next day you just definitely you will modify it now. So for one day it will not harm you, but if you repetitively do the mistakes for long duration of time, it will harm you.
But if you don't know that where is the mistake, so we should go for a proper trainer before we start it to do for
Yes,
long.
yes, I suggest that. At least at beginning, you should have somebody who is more experienced than you. I don't tell that it should be a trainer, but maybe lot of people don't take trainer. They are doing from last 15 years, 20 years yoga, so they know more than you. So you should take suggestion from them. This at least first 1 to 2 to 3 months, you should take some guidance from some experienced person.
Okay, okay, okay. And so YouTube channels are flooded with yogas and instructions and all that. Can follow them available?
See, you just the intelligent thing is you go to 2-3 different sites, you correlate them, and you follow the common thing. What I do actually suggest that don't follow one single YouTube channel, because that channel, what is the motive of creating that channel is getting maximum maximum hitting likes. So they'll show you those things which will attract you. They'll glamorize the thing. So I suggest you go to several sites for single exercise. Say Bhujangasana, a simple exercise is Bhujangasana. For Bhujangasana, you search 3-4 sites, 3-4 different persons YouTube. Then you'll come to know that what are differences between these three same exercise. What are the ways are different? Then you accept the most common thing what they are telling. If everybody is telling the same thing, then you can follow that. But again, YouTube channel following is not so highly recommendable, because again I have told you that they are glamorizing everything. They want to show those things what you will want to show, and you will hit like. They want like. So better to go to someone experienced, maybe, or some institutions, recognized good institutions, where you can learn actual thing. Otherwise they will misguide you. There are a lot of Masumi growth of yoga studios are there in Guwahati and all places all over in India, but I don't know who are standardizing them. There are no nodal agency to standardize those things. So you better go to those organizations which are really renowned, which have some credentials after them. Then only you should follow those things.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
One more
Is
question
there any
from
chat room questions?
chat box. Green tea induced acidity. Any other alternative for that?
Yeah, green tea. See, green tea induces it is different. It is different person feels different feelings. Some people's acidity triggers by green tea. So you should not take green tea in the very first tea cup of your morning. You should take it later on. And today there are a lot of herbal teas are available in the market. So you just find it trial and error method, that which tea suits you. If nothing suits you, the red tea, the black tea we generally take in home, it's also equivalently good. But there are a lack of antioxidants, so we recommend green tea. That you will get lot of antioxidants in green tea. So it's good. But if it doesn't suit you, then you should select other tea forms, maybe red tea or green tea, black tea. So, any other questions or any queries? I can keep on answering, but I don't know what is the time. We are having at least 15 minutes more, so maybe our more questions we can answer. Huh? We can discuss some more questions. Anyone having any other questions related to this field, you can ask me. I can talk over diet also. I have got experience in dieting and diet and all. So anyone any query regarding diet and all, you can ask me over here, because from tomorrow we'll be having practical class, so we cannot talk other things. So today is the best time to talk about other things related to the fitness and strength training and stress management thing.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, we have been working, like we are faculty in engineering college.
Okay.
And it's very difficult for us to get time for meditation and yoga.
Yeah.
So, which you will suggest to me as a lady, okay, I should go for either meditation or yoga?
See, if you
I
have
need a
mental
suggestion for us.
Yeah, tell me.
Because see, we need to do all the works. Nah? We are working in house also. We are taking care of outside work as well. So because of the time constraint, we will not. We basically myself, I mean talking about. I'm not able to give more time for exercise and all. So according to you, what should I do? I should go for meditation or yoga?
See, both will take time, but I have a system. I'll give you in practical training class a simple meditation which can be done within 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
A system, so that you can follow. One thing. Second thing is, you don't have to take time out of your schedule, but you can manage in your schedule also while going to walking. While going to your class, while you are going to taking class, then you can walk. By walk you can go. You can scroll in your department. You can scroll here and there. Don't sit on a single place. You take stairs instead of lift. Those small things you can enter in your lifestyle, so that you don't have to work out differently. It means you don't have to fix a time for it.
Okay, so there should not be a specific time for doing meditation and yoga. Like as per our ease, we can do it.
No. It is required, but if you don't have opportunity, such opportunity to have plenty of time for yoga and meditation, then this 15 minutes, 20 minutes meditation I will teach you that you can follow directly anytime, anywhere in your chamber also, where you sit. If there is a door, you close the door, and inside that 15-20 minutes you can do the meditation.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So nice of you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, what should be the ideal gap between a meal and the yoga practice time? Like meals, I'm asking snacks. Yeah.
Just light snacks. It should be 45 minutes to 1 hour. For heavy meal, it should be 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, heavy meal means measure meal. 2 to 3 hours gap you should give. Yeah.
Okay.
Pardon, your voice is not coming clearly. Your voice is not coming clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, now coming.
Am I clear now? Am I clear now, sir? Sir,
what?
Am I clear now?
Yeah. Yes.
So what I want to know is that when we are working for schools, colleges or institutions, normally whole day we have to run from one floor to another floor and one building to another and all that. Does it can it be counted as a part of exercise? Like, are they helpful for managing weight and body movement?
Yeah. That will be counted. Yeah, that will be counted, because while calculating your daily caloric expenditure, if you give me to design your diet, then I'll calculating what type of works you do. That will be calculated, and how much calorie you burn during the regular activity, I'll keep it in my calculation. So according to that, I will design the diet. So that is one thing. And then another thing, if you cannot do anything, if you cannot spare little time for exercise, then okay, at least you can walk. You skip your lift and you go by stairs. That is a good thing to choose for fitness. This small modification in your daily life maybe giving you will be more fit.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Right.
And
Excuse me, sir. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, will you please tell me more about alkaline water? Nowadays,
Alkaline
people are
water.
saying alkaline water in order to detoxify your body.
Yeah, detoxification
Yeah,
involves
with
a
the
lot
help
of
of
things.
alkaline water. How it is prepared?
Yeah.
Is it like good for everyone? How many times we need to drink in a day, in a week, or we should drink it daily?
See, these are very finer things. These are the very finer things. These things are getting trend. Nowadays, it is in trend. But we suggest balanced diet. You don't have to detoxify. It means you don't have to drink something specially for detoxification. If you have your meals in proper balance, the balance means there should be all the nutrients your body needs. Detoxification means they are putting in something which will neutralize some negative effect of the environment or all, like your antioxidants. The antioxidants, what they are doing, they are going in and they are neutralizing the free radicals. Like that, alkaline water, maybe vitamin C. These are detoxification for different parts of the body. Like your liver needs vitamin C to detoxify. If your liver gets detoxified, then your entire food, what you consume, most of them will go to the liver, and liver will process it further. So if your liver is functioning okay, means your entire body is getting the nutrients in proper proportions. So detoxification is required, but I don't think you should overemphasize detoxification. And alkaline water is okay because acidic. We are whole through the day, lot of things which we eat. It induces acidity, acidic condition inside our body. So to neutralize that, they are suggesting this alkaline water. But as per me, my opinion, once in the morning you can have alkaline water, and I don't suggest several cups of alkaline water in a day, because maybe it will again detoxify you in another sense, another somewhere in the body.
Okay, at least once in a week we can detoxify our body.
Yeah, detoxification requires different level. As I said, once, not once. You can have regularly vitamin C. It will detoxify you. Alkaline water, it will detoxify you. Again, all the vitamins and minerals required, which will detoxify you. So detoxification is not a single. Alkaline water is the only detoxification drink. There are a lot of mixed drinks you can make with herbs and all fruits available. Fruits are very good detoxifier. There are alkaline fruits also. So I suggest don't focus on a single drink.
Okay.
You just balance your diet so that it automatically detoxifies you.
Okay. So
Maybe
drinking warm water with honey and lemon is also a kind of an alkaline water?
yeah. But the thing is, the effect of those things are very negligible. Very negligible. A lot of celebrities tell that I take honey and lemon in the morning. We
Morning
think that
and
that's all sorts of these glamour line people. They used to tell that. But the thing is, it is good. I am not telling that it's bad. But again, it has got drastic change in your fitness or your whole body. I don't believe so. From my experience, I tell you, vitamin C is good. You can have it in warm water, or you can have it with your food, your rice or your roti. It's same. It is going on. In veg science, we are only concerned with the nutrients available in the food. We are not concerned about which is hot food, which is cold food, which will detoxify. We don't think like that. We only think of balanced diet. The daily requisite of the body should get in your diet.
Okay.
There should be a lot of things: fruits and vegetables, protein, carbohydrate, vitamins and minerals. That is the daily quota required should go in. Even you need cholesterol for your liver bile acid. You need cholesterol also, but that requisite amount. More of it will damage somewhere in your body.
Okay, sir. Thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you. So, any other questions or any queries? Today we are having time for these other discussions. Tomorrow we will not have so much of time. So, anyone want to ask questions? Please put forward, because it's almost 1:15. The class is still so 1:10. So 5 minutes we are having. Any inbox question or anything is there? Mr. Gusani.
One person is asking about intermittent fasting.
Yeah. Yes. This is very buzzing. This is a very buzzing word in the internet nowadays and fitness industry. Intermittent fasting. Fasting is good. Traditionally, we do fasting. In our culture, it is there. But intermittent fasting is somewhat very tough because it obviously reduces your weight. But for 16 hours or 18 hours, you are not eating anything. Our body, as per my thought process, our body is not designed for such type of food behavior. We are not accustomed to that. So if we start it one of a sudden, then our body will be sick. Will do some irregularities inside our body. So I don't suggest IFT. You don't go to IFT directly. But one thing is there: if you are very obese means you need to lose weight at any cost, then you can implement IFT. It will owe you result, but again, it should be implemented slowly and step by step. Like for say first month, you are doing a fasting of 6 hours. Then next month you increase it to by 2 hours, 8 hours, and you similarly you go to you keep extending your time, and to better take guide from someone, because there are some certain things when to do the fasting, at which time of the day you should be in fast, and when to start break the fasting and when to start the fasting. That needs some knowledge of your day-to-day life. So if some expert is available, or you can talk to someone who is doing this, it will be better. Just don't blindly follow IFT, intermittent fasting, because it will harm you. It will gastric problem and all sorts of problem will be there in your body. So maybe today we have discussed a lot of things, and maybe I don't know whether I'm up to the mark that answering your question, but I tried to handle your questions as far as my knowledge and experience goes. For tomorrow, tomorrow we are having yoga and pranayama practical. So for that, again, I request you to at least be in a place where nobody can disturb you. You can perform your physical exercises. There should be so much of space. There should be one yoga mat or any anything that you can keep it in the floor and do the exercise over that. You be prepared with a bottle of water and handkerchief. You can wear shorts, half pants, or track lower. You can wear t-shirts, and that's all. But you should make it ready before that time means 11:45. Before 11:45, you should be ready with these things, and I'll be trying to at least correct you some posters so that you can follow it in your, and I will try to give you a schedule. Schedule means it's a constructed workout schedule so that you can follow it afterwards, because after finishing, after 4 days, there will be no one to help you. So you should better clarify everything. At least I'm not going to very complex yoga routine or meditation routine or anything. Some simple form, at least the minimum required exercises and yoga and pranayama. I'll give you a schedule, and you just clarify. You should clarify everything so that you can follow it. Okay. So maybe we can stop for today. Anyway, till the time is there, anybody can, if you have any doubts and questions, you can ask me. I can answer it fast as far as I can. It's almost 1:15.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks for your.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. See you
All
tomorrow.
participants got benefited from your speech. Sir will come tomorrow again. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
We'll write back here at 2:30 p.m. with the same link. Okay, thank you all.
Okay, thank you.